And good morning and welcome back to White Mountain Today here on White Mountain TV 16. Joining us right here is Susan Bean from the Denmark Art Center. Susan, how are you?
Peachy Kino. Thanks,
always,
Rob.
Always good to see you.
Nice
I'm
to
glad
see
you
you.
came by on this fine Sunday.
I know, Indigenous holiday weekend.
That's right.
It's booming out there.
Oh, it is booming. Beautiful, and it's a beautiful weekend too. Weather-wise, it's nice. You know, a little bit of fog, but still very nice.
Yeah.
And what is happening? You took a little breather. You know, you had an unbelievable spring and summer schedule there at the Denmark Art Center, and now you're gearing into fall and winter.
Yes, it's been a wonderful, exciting haul to be able to get through a season where people are gathering and outdoors in the town of Denmark, and all the foundation support provided that for us. And so in this transition, we're going back inside. So it will be yet another phase of the pandemic and the arts and how we work with it in our community and where our community is at with continuing to see the arts and supporting the arts at a level of comfort for them.
Exactly.
Right.
And so how did you set up this fall and winter? Was there a theme that you tried to go with, or you just wanted to get the best people possible?
The latter. I'm going to go with that one. And always in keeping an eye right now, other arts institutions and organizations that are happening to see what they're doing with guidelines.
Yeah.
So for us, going inside, it is all masked all the time. We took away the food and the alcohol so that masks would remain.
Yeah.
And we pulled in an air filtration system so that we can so I can feel comfortable for staff and artists coming in, and that guests would feel comfortable coming in to see, because it's people are still have their concerns.
Right.
Rightly so.
Right. Absolutely. And it's a beautiful building. I've had a chance to be there. It's just an unbelievable building, and a great venue and great sound and everything else. So it's a nice spot to go and see all these performers, and you have a whole bunch of great things coming up.
Yeah, thanks. We have a variety, which is fun.
It is. That's what I'm looking. I keep looking at people going, why does he keep looking down? I have the poster in front of me, and so it just shows all the variety that you have. That's the best word to describe it.
Right. Yeah. And ideally we catch in our casting our net wide a bunch of people who will come in for the first time, who are just coming back for the first time, because that's what that whole season felt like this summer, was bands going, oh my gosh, we haven't performed together for a whole year,
Right.
or this is the first time we've been together, or theater troops going, we've been doing all this on Zoom. So in a way it's sort of like dress rehearsal.
Right.
But in the performance quality, nada. It's all been really wonderful. In this fall, we looked at doing what we had the Children's Museum and Theater of Maine coming in next weekend. We have our comedy series, adult content comedy series, coming in next Friday.
Yeah.
Saturday night, so next weekend's a big weekend. Saturday night we have Northbound Singers, a Boston group, a cappella, Gaelic song. That's lovely. And we have a couple of changes, because as we're trying to be flexible with our calendar, what we set up in March is nary the same come November, So there's a few changes. So going online, denmarkarts.org is the best place to catch any new performances we're putting in or any changes.
Right, and it just keeps you updated right there, and it's got all of the info.
Yep.
But the newest updated info.
Right, the hot info.
And then you've got stuff going, right up through Christmas. What is the Holly Holiday Handmade Bazaar?
That's an annual for us. Thanks for picking that one out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talented people in the White Mountain Valley region, right, and in Western Maine. And so we open it up to artisans and have them bring in their talents, creations, and products. So people can go shopping.
Yeah.
And start the holiday season that way. We've modified that as well. So rather than having 20 vendors, we're reducing it to 12 vendors. We pulled out the food vendors because we had some great cheese makers and pie makers and chocolate makers that came in.
Right.
So that's how we're adjusting. and we are psyched that we can have it, whereas in last year we did it all online.
Right. Right.
So that's fun.
Well, that's great. So
Yeah.
that'll be a lot of fun. You have a Christmas Carol.
2 years ago, this gentleman, Will Rice, I think he started the Philadelphia Theater for the Hearing Impaired and Deaf, and had taught there and been the executive director there for years. He's a consummate actor.
Mm-hmm.
He retired in Bridgeton, and we're fortunate to have him. He's doing all of the characters of A Christmas Carol,
Wow.
and it's phenomenal. I bounced around to each character he presented. He did it with such aplomb. It's just lovely.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's coming up on December 11th.
Yes.
So 2 shows. Is it 2 shows, or is it just there's a dash there?
He has one show that day.
Okay.
I believe the weekend before we have the Cold Night Burlesque Theater and the Rebellion concert. So it's 2 burlesque shows.
Wow.
It's great. A group in Norway. We went to see him a couple years ago, and I'm like, oh, that would be fun.
That's fun.
Yeah. So it's really a mix.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about the Denmark Art Center, is that it is such a mix. You're not rut's not the right word, but you're not in the same path. You're all over. You're all
over the board.
Eclectic.
Thank you. That's a nice way to say
Right.
squirrel.
Yeah.
Right.
Squirrel. So, but
Yeah.
so it's great. So you have all these things coming up, and I mean, it's a short drive from here.
Yeah.
Shorter if you live closer, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's a nice drive over there. And as I said,
Yeah.
beautiful building, great venue to explore all of these things. So the best thing to do is to go onto the website.
Denmarkarts.org. That is truly the best and the quickest way to get a response. And check to see what is available, if there are any changes, CDC guidelines. That'll be the place to do it.
Yeah.
And anything new, like we just added in yesterday, working with the Denmark Historical Society, a performance. I'd say it's a gathering, and it's Denmark history, then to now,
Cool.
from the 1880s. So the Stacy brothers, Rusty, Jim, and Butch, are bringing their stories of working as kids in the area from people who were born in who lived and worked in the late 1800s to early 1900s, and they're sort of bringing their stories to the forefront.
Cool.
And we're going to start oral history of Denmark and working with the Historical Society to eventually, Longview, create a play.
That's great.
Wow.
Yeah, oral histories are so amazing. They're such a great way to
Oh my gosh.
to explore history. Is really and doing it in a different way than just sitting there reading a book. So
Right, and it lends itself completely to the stage.
absolutely.
Right, in different ways. So this is the beginning of that. It's a road.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think so, too.
And anything else you want to throw out there for us right now, Susan?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, she said.
Well, I have to say, this season has been, in the last 2 years, has been interesting because of the pandemic.
Right.
And I think I find it a great value because we've been able to get the organizations, nonprofits together, talking about how to troubleshoot. What are you doing? Here's some ideas of what I'm doing. That's been super. The foundations, like the Robert and Dorothy Goldberg Foundation, the Simmons Foundation, Central Maine Power as their foundation, the Onion Foundation, they have all stepped up mightily to support nonprofits to get through. And that is truly the only way we could have opened up this season to the
Yeah.
public and shared arts and bands and theater pieces and kids camp with the community. Not for them, there wouldn't have been a season to exist because it's still very precarious as cash flow goes.
Right.
So totally grateful for that. The community's been grateful because it's all been the first time, many firsts this summer of getting together, and it's emotional,
Right.
right? It's lovely. So we're psyched and grateful for that, and being able to be here at Outside TV to be able to share what we're doing in our little neck of western foothills of Maine is a great appreciation. Thanks.
Well, we love having you.
Well,
Absolutely.
shucks.
So definitely check out all of the great things that are going on there at the Denmark Arts Center. Go to denmarkarts.org
Yeah.
and get the updated list, because there's
Yeah.
some things that have been changed, some things that have been updated, added. And you don't want to miss out on it.
No.
So, well, Susan, thanks so much for coming by.
Thank
and
you.
I know we'll see you again, because we're going to have to find out what's happening in January too. So
Yeah, we hope to see you in our neck of the woods.
that sounds good.
Thanks.
All right, and we'll be back here in a minute on White Mountains Today.